what's up, guys? Welcome back to Videobob Show. Haven't done this in a couple of weeks. I thought I would pull it again. I was stuck in the hospital for like 4 days with my foot surgery that I had to do. That was fun. And then we got over that. Then I had to deal with getting caught up with being away for a week. When you run a business and you leave that business for even a minute, you got so much to get caught up on, phone calls and all these other things. We did get the other 2004 Rolls-Royce Phantom back finally after being in the shop for 2 months. And we posted the video on that yesterday. And, some of the things that I've been working on for a long time that I've talked about is moving the whole operation to Las Vegas. I've always wanted to live there. I visit there all the time. I love it out there. I have a ton of friends out there. And one of the things I wanted to start doing when I get out there is I considered the idea of maybe renting some cars, not just exotic cars. I could rent the Rolls-Royce cars. I have 3 of those. We could rent some of the movie cars like the Back to the Future DeLorean Time Machine or Knight Rider, Ghostbusters car, because I don't think anybody's ever done that. And I thought, wow, that would be really cool. But I hear such horror stories about what it's like to rent cars to people, especially people that are in a party atmosphere like in Las Vegas. And so the guest I wanted to have on this week to talk about that type of thing, somebody, he just appeared with Matt Farah on the Smoking Tire the other day, and they were talking about some of this. And he's a guy that not only rents exotic cars, but also does car experiences where you can go out and go on an adventure drive. And matter of fact, one of the last times I was in Vegas at the SEMA show, we got to hang out. And so let me pull you up. Here he is. Bang. It's Rob. Is it Ferretti like spaghetti? Is that how you say it?
It's something like that. They sound similar.
But that's this is the space you're in. You rent exotic cars. You have your super speeders. Man, how many subscribers do you have on your show now? You have a lot.
Like 750,000 or so.
Man, I've only got 94,000. It's like trying to get to the 100,000 is the hardest.
It's like getting to the million. Then, like after the 100,000, then you're thinking 500,000, and after 500,000, you're thinking million.
It's like money, pretty much. I mean, I've had this channel since 2007, but I didn't start putting a lot of effort into it until I had a couple of videos kind of go viral. And then all of a sudden I started getting checks from Google that I didn't get before because I had an AdSense account.
Sure.
And even at 94,000, it's to the point where it pays like my whole mortgage.
Yeah, it's worth doing.
I can imagine being up there in Tavarish land.
Sure.
With $1.5 million, stuff like that. So I thought, people have been telling me for a long time, because I used to work in radio and I worked in television. They go, you should do like a podcast, So I thought I'd do that. And what you do when you do your weekend thing, you do a thing where you have a drink.
Oh yeah, every Friday
have a drink or two.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for you, in honor of you, I don't know if you have anything nearby.
Do I have anything nearby? Come on, I drink every Friday with you guys.
So
Louis the 13th, you're going strong.
Yes, this is not messing around. There it is.
Look at that.
Left. Look at that. I'm not really a big drinker. I do like cognac. And before anybody starts complaining about this glass, right? Because I've used this glass before, and some of the connoisseurs were saying that's not the correct snifter that you would use with this. But believe it or not, Remy Martin had this glass. Where's my camera? There it is. They had this camera or this this glass made specifically for this actual. Let me get that in there. Cognac. Okay. So join me if you will for just a second.
I will if you don't give me. Let me jump off camera for 30 seconds.
Go grab it. Grab it, and I will vamp. Let's see. I'll pull them out for just a second. Here we go. I'll pour this. It's $150 an ounce. What are we doing? We're going to do $300 worth of liquor tonight. That's probably good. It does smell good. I don't want to set it there because I might knock that table over. as I said, this glass was made by Baccarat Crystal, specifically for the Remy Martin Louis Trace. Let me pull you back in here. I had taken you out. There you are.
Yeah, no worries. So I've got the wrong glass as well, but I've got the right cube.
I'm digging that.
I'm going to be doing the Whiskey Pig 18, which comes
Nice.
nifty little top here. Whistle Pig is great. It's a Vermont-based whiskey company in the U.S., and they make a lovely lineup of beverages.
It is. It comes with the cork, but you can replace it with it. They give you that just so.
Look at that. Are we measuring corks right now? Check this one out.
We're having a
cork fest.
We're having a cork sword fight over here.
Well, cheers. Thank you for having me on. Let me see if I can dink you right there.
Dink.
I didn't get the temperature yet, but
no, there's like a 3-sip process to this, as you know. You do a little swirl, you do a little smell, you do a little lip wetting. I don't care. First time I had this, I literally did it like a shot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. And they go, you're supposed to, that's how you drink it. I was like,
sip that one.
Listen, I have a fireball machine upstairs. That's how I roll.
Sure. The Jaeger machine.
So, I do have a Jaeger machine and a fireball machine.
You are the type of guy with like a Pac-Man full-blown video system in your house.
It's a Galaga. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I have pinball machines, stuff like that. I'm that kind of dude. So cool. That's exactly who I am. And so, as I said in the preamble, the plan is to move to Las Vegas. I've been wanting to do that for a long time, just because I like the atmosphere. I don't actually drink a lot. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I don't like to gamble that much. That's not why I want to go. I just like
perfect.
I like the food. I like the entertainment. And I actually, believe it or not, I kind of like the climate. I like the dryness there. I live here in Dallas where it's humid. Like right now, it's probably 80% humidity. It's
okay.
So, but one of the business plans of moving out there is I'm going to continue to build my cars. As you know, I build replicas of the Back to the Future DeLorean Time Machine. I build Knight Rider, Ghostbusters, these kind of cars. But my customers have nothing to do with Dallas. I ship my cars all over the world. I mean, the DeLorean that we just sold, we're shipping to Australia.
Sure.
So I thought, if I lived in Vegas, not only could I continue building and shipping my cars there and doing our movie props, but then I could add the additional concept of renting cars. Now, there's already a lot of people who rent cars there, quite a bit.
They don't rent Ecto 1.
But they don't rent those kind of cars. But the roadblock I ran into is my friends would say, like, are you going to actually let somebody drive this car? Because when we take the car out for display, we put ropes around it. We don't let them touch it. So the concept of letting people drive the car horrifies me. So, but it's got to be the same thing as when somebody has a Bugatti and they go, here, take this car out and drive around Vegas.
I think it's a little different. The cars that you build are unique, but they're not a handful, if that makes sense. You're not giving somebody an Uzi as their first weapon and saying, just point it that way. You're giving somebody a car that looks cool and it's more difficult to repair if they do something wrong. But it drives the same as virtually any other, say, station wagon or DeLorean. The DeLorean is not known for its performance capabilities. It does not go back in time, so you don't have to worry about any of that.
I think the biggest thing is, I just watched a video you posted about customer brought back a Mercedes with damage to the hood. So the guy walked on the hood. Okay. I had somebody stand on top of my Rolls Royce while I was in a grocery store. I know this because I found their Converse prints all over the top of the hood. Luckily, they didn't damage anything because the car's built like a tank, but I'm sure my car's in a rap video now. And what do you do about that situation when
you don't do anything?
You just, I mean,
it's the world that we live in, my friend.
Is the customer going to end up paying for the damage, or because you talked about
I took it out of the security deposit?
I guess that's really the trick.
I mean, it's here's what I gave it to you. Here's what you gave back. I don't care if you did it. I don't care if somebody did it. I don't care if it happened while you were having dinner. It's not how I gave it to you.
Has there been a time that somebody just calls you and said, hey, come pick up what's left of your car. See you later. and maybe the insurance doesn't pay or something? Do you get stuck with it?
That's happened once or twice, but then like we go through our insurance subrogates ultimately to their insurance, or we eat it and we sue them directly.
Now let's see. I'll take a look at. Now we can take. You really should check out the StreamYard stuff that I'm using here, because what's cool about it is I don't know if you can see the comments over there, but people will come in and they will leave comments. Let's see if anybody's got any questions. So if you got a comment for Rob or for myself, you could post it over there. And what's cool about it is as you know, on YouTube, it also includes super chat. So if you have a super chat, that's great. So I like how he goes, yeah, what's his name from VinWiki?
Me?
No, I think he might have been talking about Ed.
Yeah.
I don't know. It says renting exotic cars is a nightmare of liability. Ed Bolian probably is who he's talking about. What's his name? One of the biggest YouTubers on the planet. What's his name? Well, so, I mean, you've kind of covered this on your show, I suppose, but the idea here is maybe people that maybe haven't seen some of your videos. Do you have any kind of crazy stories or examples that you could give of someone renting a car, or anything in particular that comes to mind maybe lately? I know things have been pretty light with the COVID lately, but
no, I mean, we were raging all summer.
Really?
The utilization was up over previous years. We didn't have as many cars this year because I didn't want to go buy cars and then face a lack of demand. And if there was a second wave, third wave, election, whatever impacted the world, I didn't want to be sitting on a lot of inventory. That's a lot of overhead. So I sort of kept it a little closer to the chest this year.
What's the number one renting car that you have?
I mean, the C8 was probably the most popular car this year.
I got to admit, I'm dying to check one of those out.
Cool. So it's a fun car.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about adventure drives that you're doing, because I think that this is something that I would like to do. The experience of the cars and going on a road trip. You just did one with Matt Farah, right?
I did. So adventure drives is when I sold my rental company back in 2015, or I thought I sold it. We did the transaction. I was looking for something to sort of like retire, like a switch to a different company that's just a little bit more fun. I like traveling. I like doing like road trips across the globe. So I did like one or two. I did one with like Matt Farah. I've done other ones like across the globe as like friends. And they're like, wow, you're really good at planning trips. I'm like, well, I am pretty good at planning trips. Pretty fun. Let me turn that into a company. And that's where Adventure Drive spawned from. And I took all the fun stuff about these road rallies, and instead, like, everybody's like, oh yeah, I rally all the time. I do this, I do that. But they're just like driving within like a 200-mile radius of where they live, which isn't really seeing the world. There's much better roads out there. And I'm like, look, like a lot of people out there have money. Let's just ship our cars, fly over to where the action is. And we do that. So it's akin to like flying to Pebble Beach to play golf. Excuse me. Instead of just playing golf where you live. So we've driven the Autobahn in Germany. We've driven in the Dolomites, the Alps, through the south of France, Route Napoleon. We've done, like all over Europe. Then we've done the Pacific Northwest. We've done Denver over to through Utah and Colorado and California, Yosemite, Yellowstone, Glacier National Park. I mean, we've done so much in just say about 5 years. It's like tremendous fun. We've done away with we've gotten very, very few tickets given the hundreds of thousands of miles that we've now logged amongst the cars. And did I lose you? Are you still there?
No, I mean, I'm just giving you your own picture.
I saw you disappear. No worries.
Giving you the solo.
So we've done all of this driving, gotten virtually no tickets. And I think the reason isn't because we're necessarily driving slower, but if you've driven those other rallies, it just becomes a giant ticket fest. Everybody's got stickers on their cars. You go out, as soon as the cops are onto you, like the rest of your day is just like, who's getting pulled over next? And you're actually driving slower than if the cops weren't looking for you, when you can drive more spirited and fun. And that's sort of the sweet spot that we found, that we do these luxury road trips, staying at great hotels, great restaurants, doing cool activities. We've had helicopters, hot air balloons, We do hikes, like all sorts of stuff. We go to these awesome locations around the world, and we just chill and we enjoy them. We've done Oktoberfest in Munich I mean, like all these things. We've been up to Iceland. We've snowmobiled on glaciers. Like all of this stuff that you have on your bucket list, we're just ticking them off year after year. Our next trip coming up is in October, it's the 20th to the 25th, and it's going from Lake George in New York up through Stowe, Vermont, over to, okay, actually, believe it or not, over to Whistle Pig's Distillery, to Stowe, Vermont, over to Mount Washington. We've closed down the road at Mount Washington, which is akin to like shutting down Pikes Peak. And we get to drive up there together. Then we're going over to the coast of Maine. We've got a whale watching boat, a private charter bringing us all out looking at whales. And we're driving down. We're staying at this awesome place in Maine on the coast called the Cliff House, built into the cliffs, down to Boston, over to Newport.
Wow. So, I remember a few years back, me and a bunch of the DeLorean owner guys did the Tail of the Dragon run out in Tennessee, and that's the closest thing to something like that I've done, and that was pretty fun. But you know, as good as the DeLorean handle, still probably not as good as some of these cars you guys are taking. I was going to ask, are people mostly sending their cars out, or are you also providing cars?
I don't. If people need to rent cars, I can rent them to them or help them source cars.
Because I was under the impression that you were kind of like providing the car as well.
No, it's more so meant for owners.
Okay.
But like it's all logical. So if we're in Europe, most people aren't going to ship their car to Europe for the week because ultimately it costs the same as renting a car over there. So why bother losing your car for a month?
Yeah, I mean, going back to the DeLorean owner guys, the car was built originally in Belfast, Ireland, and I don't know, every 5 or 10 years they'll get back together and go back to the original plant in Dunmurry where they have the original track, and people will ship their DeLoreans over there and drive it on the original test track, and you know, it's something I've never done, but it would be fun to do. I think that if I'm going to try to rent a DeLorean, I probably would have to modify it. You know, put a different motor in it, and you know, it'd have to be an automatic because none of these millennials drive a stick.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know if I'd put an LS in it. It's way too big. That's what I'm thinking about. Because this is a small car, by the way, the Ford EcoBoost 4-cylinder turbo that they put into the Mustangs. You can buy them crate for $6,000. Perfectly reliable engine, tiny little thing. You can pick it up. And I saw a guy put one in an MG.
Sure,
believe it or not. And it was so powerful that he wrapped the thing around a pole. That's how come I saw it.
What do you think about? I wouldn't rent it like that. What do you think is wrong with the factory motor in the DeLorean that would be prohibitive to renting it?
This is a huge discussion that I'm sure a lot of DeLorean purists will argue. You know, it's a very old 70s. It was originally a boat motor. It was like a Volvo motor. Peugeot, Renault, and Volvo got together. It's got a mechanical fuel injection system on it. They're prone to overheating. So you think, you know, driving that car up and down the Las Vegas Strip in August when it's 110 degrees with the air conditioner on at 5 miles an hour, I just don't think it's going to last. I don't think it's going to make it. Whereas you could buy a brand new Ford Focus and you could drive it through the desert all day long with the air conditioner on, and it's not going to fail.
What about upgrading just the cooling on it?
I think that just the design of the engine and the way it's, I mean, I've owned 40 of these cars. So I personally would not trust my life to drive into the Nevada desert in a DeLorean. You know, I just wouldn't. They're just too unreliable. It's old technology. And I know the DeLorean guys out there hate me for this, but it's just like an old style Ferrari or an old style Jaguar. I mean, would you take a 70s Ferrari driving up and down the Vegas Strip, you know, for day in and day out? How long would that last?
I personally wouldn't. I'm sure at some point in time there was a rental company that did. I don't have coronavirus, by the way. I was just stuffing sound deadening material in my house that I'm building right now.
Alcohol kills the virus. Take a drink.
Oh, it kills the virus. Well, luckily it's not the virus. It's just I just showered before this. Like my skin is all itchy from the fiberglass.
Oh. Wow.
It is what it is. The thing that you have to consider, especially when you're entering the rental space, is that if somebody crashes the car, they always blame the car. So now imagine somebody hurts themselves in your DeLorean, and then they come back to you and say, well, you've modified it, and by adding this additional horsepower, you've now made it dangerous, and that's why I crashed. It wasn't because I was drunk. It wasn't because I was on Molly. It was because I was driving your car, and it's 20 horsepower more than the factory. And 20 horsepower is a lot.
Oh, this would be double the horsepower, because the horsepower.
I know, but I'm just
130. We're talking about 300.
I know. I'm just talking as a lawyer.
Yeah.
At 300, who would possibly need 300 horsepower? And somebody's going to hurt themselves, and then they're going to sue you because of that, because they're idiots. And there's a line of lawyers that would take that in a heartbeat. That's why I don't modify any of my rental cars. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, if somebody crashes, I didn't, like, it's factory tires, factory brakes, like everything. I'm not, if anything, I've modified an exhaust on a quiet car.
Yeah.
Other than that, we don't touch a damn thing, because as soon as you start saying we turned up the boost, we did this, we did that, the thing comes much more dangerous.
Everything about the cars are completely modified. Here you take a DeLorean, you remove the back window, put in a metal plate with a flux capacitor flashing in it. I mean, everything about the car,
if that hits somebody, they'll sue you for it.
Is completely modified. So that's an interesting thing, you know, about how do you insure that. I'm not so worried about the wrecking it, because I feel like we can fix these cars. If you know,
no, it's not about the replacement of the vehicle. It's about the liability. If
they
hit somebody or hurt themselves, that's where you have a real, like that's where a $5,000 car can result in a $5 million lawsuit.
But is there enough indemnity that you can have them sign?
No.
You know, to have them be aware.
You can never have them indemnify themselves to enough where a lawyer will not sue you.
That's the thing.
And because they're always going to cite negligence. And any indemnity or indemnification is overshadowed by negligence. And a lawyer will always say that you modifying the car was a negligent maneuver or a negligent thing, and that is where the insurance isn't going to step in, and they may even go after you personally.
So I think the number one thing is to set up, you know, either a what do you think is the best entity, like LLC or
yeah, I mean, and the entity doesn't matter. It's like negligence can potentially, if you're the owner, negligence can pierce the corporate veil. So that's where you just have to be careful. I mean, look, I just think if you rent a car and it breaks down all the time, then maybe it's the wrong car to rent. But I think if you can make it, if you could do something where we've modified it not to increase the performance, but we've modified it to increase the reliability. So that's
what I want.
Yeah, we've put better brakes on it. We put better suspension, better brakes, and we've done this to the point where you don't have to worry. It stops quicker and it handles better. But when you start adding more horsepower is when you start to be like, why does it need more horsepower?
Yeah.
And that's where you become slightly negligent.
I just wanted to run cool. This is a good question. How long has Rob been in the rental business?
Ooh.
How long you been doing this?
This is my 18th year now. Started in 03 or 02.
So it's been working out for you.
Yeah.
There's so many people that have, as Ed Bolan has mentioned, have decided to run out and get into this space. And and when I tell people that that's what I want to do, they're like, no, don't. That's a bad idea. You know, some of the cars I have, like, Rolls-Royce Phantom, probably the only thing you got to worry about is somebody curbing the wheel or something like that, you know, or actual full-blown wreck. But I think that those are pretty simple, easy to rent. But in the past, you know, I've been renting my cars for about 15 years, but for display purposes and corporate events.
Sure.
So I'd bring out the time machine,
put
stanchions around it, and people take pictures with it. And that there's still a great opportunity to do that in Las Vegas with all the conventions and things that happen in the tourist industry. But I thought, you know, there's nowhere on the planet you can go and rent a DeLorean and drive it, much less a modified one that's a time machine. I think people would pay a premium for that. That was the idea. But it seems to me that, like, the insurance, I mean, it's hard enough just to get someone to insure a custom modified vehicle like that, just to own it. But much less for commercial rental property.
Well, the problem you may run into is because I can't rent on my commercial rental policy any car that's older than 10 years.
Mm.
So I'm not familiar. The only company that I think might insure that would be Haggerty, because Haggerty has something called like driving club or something like that, where they allow owners to rent their own cars. You can go rent a 308 through Haggerty's Drive Safe or Drive Will Share, whatever it is. So they're trying to do their own Turo with their customers' cars.
Okay,
which may
that's
be
fantastic.
Yeah, so that they're supplying the insurance, and clearly they're letting people rent 30, 40-year-old cars.
I thought about using Turo as the go-between and putting the cars on Turo so that they have some kind of protection. But
yeah, I
hear such bad things about Turo, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking about renting a 1959 Cadillac hearse.
Yeah.
That's going to have an LS motor in it.
Sure.
And made up to look like a ambulance. You know, I'm not worried about dealing with the studios and copyright and things because I have a great relationship with them. This person here says just rent the Yugo. I have a 1991 Yugo GV Plus, and believe it or not, I'm sure there's people out there that would rent that thing just for the experience and the laugh. And I'm also thinking about just YouTubers, Instagrammers, you know, these kind of people that are going to want to do it for the experience, because I'm sure, yeah, you've talked about that extensively. A lot of people want to rent the car solely so that they can take their selfies with it. Pretty much.
Well, they look like a celebrity for a day.
Yeah. And so, well, you had your $1,000 Mercedes.
Still do.
Which you said just died, but you said it died, right?
It did, and then the next day it worked again, and I've been driving it.
Because it's interesting that like you're not driving some of your own cars. You know, you're not.
I mean, that is my own car.
Well, I mean the Lamborghini, like you don't often take those home. You don't take a Ferrari.
No, in general, I separate business and pleasure. Like I've got my own little collection of personal cars.
Oh, okay. So what kind of stuff do you have for your personal collection?
I've got like the stuff that I grew up with. I've got a 98 Supra. Okay. I've got a 2004 Ferrari 360 Spider. I've got a 2004 Acura NSX. I've got a 2001 Corvette, which is like my race car. And then I've got this silly like lifted donk looking thing, like a lifted.
I've seen that thing, yeah, the Crown Vic. That's the standard car around here in Dallas. I live in South Dallas, and those are pretty ubiquitous around here.
They are as bad as they look. Like to see that and be like, oh, that thing probably sucks to drive. It's worse than that.
It's this stuff is strong.
Yeah.
I'm going to town on this Louis over here, and I barely touched it because you really just need a sip of this. It is strong stuff. It's 100 years old, I think. And yeah, well, you're a proper alcoholic. I'm just starting.
Yeah. I don't know. I limit myself to 2 drinks, and I'm also a Jets fan, which should make me an alcoholic by default. One of my sponsors is my bookie, and I was like, all right, you know what? Let me throw some skin in this thing this year. And I was like, let me just bet against the Jets. I'm a Jets fan, but let me bet that they're going to lose every game this year. And then I went to go bet on the first game, and it's like, oh, they're playing the Bills, and they were favored by like 6.5. I'm like, all right, you know what? We should be able to at least beat the Bills. And we got blown out.
I got to tell you, I'm a proper nerd. I know I don't follow sports at all. What kind of hockey game is this? Is this basketball? What are you even talking about? No, I'm not that. Yeah. I'm not that bad, but I don't.
I used to be like super. Like I could name like the quarterback of the Jets. That's about it.
But I think I live here in Dallas. We have the Dallas Cowboys. We have the Dallas Stars. We have all these great sports teams here.
Good teams. You've got good teams. The Mavericks, Stars.
Yeah, and I know a lot. I've got to meet a lot of these people and got to know a lot of them. And you know, my buddy Vinny, he was a drummer for a band called Pantera, and then he started a band called Hell Yeah.
Never heard of him.
And well, him and his brother wrote the theme song for the Stars. So
okay,
they brought the Stanley Cup to his house. I watched him throw it in the pool. Cool. I mean, you know, cool. So I would meet these Dallas Stars guys all the time, and what I've found is most sports players are such assholes because they're jocks. Right. They get drunk
and they got money very quick.
Money, and you know, they're just like us. You know, I was not a jock in high school. But I wasn't getting stuffed in my locker because I was 6'2" when I was 15. So, you know, I was always being recruited for sports, but I was a dork. I was a nerd. You don't grow up and build DeLorean time machines
Yeah.
if you're into sports. I mean, let's face it, I'm a nerd. And this is why I'm
We're
not
all
really a
nerds.
drinker.
That's why we all get along. All of us car YouTubers seem to be the same. Like you can meet a car YouTuber that you've never met before, and you're like, oh, cool. We're like instant friends because we followed the same path in life and ended up in the same place. So
I'm trying to figure out what this guy's saying. We got a hater. This guy says, "Stop scamming people and get a degree, losers."
yeah, just block them.
I'm a ninth grade dropout, and I have 3 Rolls Royce.
Sean Wheeland right there just poured some Nika coffee grain whiskey. I'm not a big fan of the Nika, but I do like some Japanese whiskeys though. So cheers to him.
I'm not. Cheers to Sean. He's a regular viewer of mine. He's always on here. I was gonna buy this. I just bought a new refrigerator. I bring this up because I ended up getting a KitchenAid, but I was almost gonna buy the new LG refrigerator.
I just bought it. Are you talking about the one that makes the craft ice balls?
It makes the round balls.
I just bought that.
So I was gonna suggest, like, if you don't already have this,
I just legitimately a week ago bought that.
But I was like, I don't really need a refrigerator in my refrigerator. It's got a secondary door you open, and you tap on the glass and it lights up. It's got gadgets.
Yeah, it's cool.
And I rationalized to myself, I go, in a couple of years, this fridge is going to be outdated. People are going to look at it and go, oh, you got that old 2020 refrigerator when it's 2000.
You get a new one. It's like a car.
The KitchenAid one I got is really industrial looking. It's actually a 5-door. It has these 2 doors that pull out. One for meats and one for vegetables, and then the 2 big ones. But anyway, the thing that sold me on it was, everybody knows how I love red. It's all stainless steel, but on the ends, all the new KitchenAid stuff has a red anodized cap on every hand. I'm such a sucker. I went into the appliance store and I replaced all of my appliances with the new KitchenAid stuff, so they all match. New dishwasher, everything.
Yep.
Because they put a red anodized aluminum cap. So sucker. I'm a sucker. Thanks, KitchenAid. Yeah. But I almost bought the LG just to get the little round ball eyes. But, you know, I have the little silicone things, but I rarely use it. You know, like I said, I'm not much of a drinker. Last time I whipped this thing out was probably 6 months ago. But I like keeping this around. I bought it just because when I go to a car show, I put my Grey Poupon. I take the Rolls Royce, the Phantom. I put the Grey Poupon on the dash, and I put this on the shelf in the back. And it just watching all these you know, the Instagrammers and all, you know, all the kids just lose their shit over this bottle.
So trivial,
that's in the back of the thing. And I've found that, you know, as a guy that does props and movie cars, you know, I'll put the DeLorean time machine on display, but then I'll put like the Gray Sports Almanac book on the dash.
Yep.
And everybody goes crazy about those little things.
The hoverboard, yeah.
Yeah. And so I've found that it's the little icing that you put on the cake of certain things that gets people the most excited. And, you know, I find that true with some of the other exotic cars out there, because there's one little quirk and feature, you know, and I think that's what made Doug DeMuro's video so interesting, is that he concentrates on these little things that would normally be skipped over. And then later on you obsess about them. Are there any particular cars that you have that have proven to be, you know, wish you hadn't put those in the fleet? Maybe it was a mistake.
The Selena 7 was one of them. That one was,
that thing.
Yeah, that was like it was a hot mess. I like the Maserati Quattraport, the McLaren MP412C. I took a bath on that. Like, legitimately, I bought a car, and it was like, oh, the deal is like, oh, I could take 10,000 off MSRP. I'm like, all right, cool. It's been out, just came out 6 months ago. I bought their like demo car. They took 10,000 off, so I paid like $273. Guy calls me 6 months later, be like, we got the convertible in. Do you want it? And I'm like, I don't know. This thing is like losing its value real quick. I'm like, what would you give me on trade if I buy a convertible and you take this? $160. I'm like, I just paid you $273,000 6 months ago. You tell me you just lost 110 grand and you're trying to sell me another car? Like, get off the phone, man. And like, so that first one I got killed on. I bought another one for like 175, a Spider, shortly thereafter, like a Neiman Marcus car. So I learned to like bypass that initial depreciation hit. But the cars that really I regret buying are the ones that just fall off a cliff price wise.
Yeah, I've got a lot of friends that bought McLarens. Every friend I've ever had that bought a McLaren got rid of it. They were like, it was neat for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, they're great cars. Don't get me wrong. They're great looking cars. They're great performing cars. They're just either they lose so much value, or if you keep them long enough, they break and they're very, very expensive to fix.
I love these guys like this. I wish I could bring this guy on the feed. This guy goes, "You brag about 3 Rolls Royces whenever they're brand new, you loser."
Yeah.
The whole point of the whole channel, I was going to bring this up. Now that I put him up, now I'm going to block him. Fuck that guy. The whole point of the whole series was, okay, how can you find something that's depreciated far enough down that's still cool?
Sure.
And make it into something. And so I bought this 2004 Phantom. I got it for like $65,000, and I had to put a bunch of money into it because we had to repaint it, put wheels on it, brakes, redo the suspension. But that was the fun part. People I think miss the whole point of what buying the car was about. The whole thing was about, let's see what we can do with it. And I've had it as a daily driver for a year and a half. I drive a Phantom as a daily driver for less than the cost of, what are you going to buy for 65 grand now?
Sure.
It's a new car, right? And then I bought another one because I found it it was on eBay. It was a salvage auction. Guys had stolen it, but did nothing to it. But it was salvaged because, it was missing. Yeah, they lost. They stole the umbrellas out of it. Who cares? Bought it for $58,000. I flew up to Sacramento, drove it back, and I've been driving that car for the last 6 months. And then the other one I have is a 1967 Silver Shadow. It was just at an auction, and it was a really cool car. But I often wonder why I don't see, and maybe the answer is obvious, but like, have you considered, like, you can go pick up an older Phantom and Ghost for like nothing nowadays. Do you feel like they're just too much of a liability, or they're not insurable? Or
I don't have a use for them. If I tried renting them and they're like, "What year is it?" "Oh, it's an 06. Like, I can't rent that. I rent newer cars. A, I can't have anything over 10 years old on my insurance.
Okay.
And B, I think the older cars, I couldn't charge as much. And then everyone's like, "Oh, why are you charging me $1,500 a day for a Bentley, but you're charging me $600 a day for a Rolls Royce?" And the answer would be because the Rolls Royce is 15 years old. But I just think it's just a different customer. I'll let Toro take those.
Yeah.
Or
I do see them on Toro. Like, I'll see a Phantom on Toro for over $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
It's over 10 years old. And the thing is people, unless they're like super skilled in the knowledge of Rolls Royces. The thing about Rolls Royce Phantoms is it's like an example I use. Are you into guns at all? Do you like guns?
Yeah.
Look at the Colt 1911.
Sure.
Colt 1911 didn't change, hasn't changed. A Zippo lighter, you can't tell the difference between an old Zippo lighter and a new Zippo lighter. There's certain stuff that's the same. And so for a good 10 years, the Rolls-Royce Phantom was just the same car.
Yeah.
You can barely tell the difference till you get inside and you see the difference between
like a touch screen or no touch screen.
Yeah. Whether or not it's the size of the screen in the back seat, the touch screen, this kind of thing. And so when I take the car out, it's 2006, and on a daily basis, people, "Oh, wow, what year is this car?" And I could lie to them and say it's a 2020. They're like, "Oh, wow, it's cool." If they don't know the difference between the fronts and the backs, the average person doesn't know. But the hardcore enthusiast does. So I started renting it out for like wedding companies and stuff where they'll pay like $500 to like take you from your reception to the hotel. And they have, no problem. Oh, this guy loves you. Here we got Wes. He says, "You're freaking awesome." You are freaking awesome. Hey, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us. I'm a big fan of your channel. And, when we were in SEMA, we did this great talk show, and then nothing ever happened to it. What happened?
Yeah, I gotta find where that file is. I'll give it to you. You can post it. We had a good podcast.
Great.
I just don't know where it went. Like, they sent it over to me because they record it and send it to me, and that was just me being lazy, honestly.
I thought it was good. It was you, me, Tavarish, Rich Benoit from Richard Builds, and
No, it was Rich the Boss from the Boss Garage.
and then no, we had
Oh yeah, you had some.
we had Tavarish,
Yep, me, you,
John
Tavares.
Ross, and Rich wasn't.
Well, you would have gotten that file.
I never got it. I know I never got a file.
Oh, that you'd have to reach out to Chris Hayes. He was running the MagnaFlow podcast.
It was the MagnaFlow thing.
Yeah, sure.
So I have no idea what happened. It's been a year ago. How disappointed are you that SEMA's not happening?
You know, it is what it is. Like, I get it. Like, how
could
it happen when everything else can't? So,
I mean,
I always enjoy SEMA. It's the one time that like I actually get to go out and meet the other people in the industry, and like that's where like legitimately where deals happen. Like a lot of things,
it is.
A lot of dinners that I've had at SEMA have turned into big things. So
I'll tell you a story. I was at SEMA and there was this guy just walking around like writing checks. Like he was just like, how much you want for that? You know?
Oh yeah.
And,
guys, the check's gonna bounce.
No, let me tell you the story about this guy. His dad invented Royal Purple Oil.
Okay, sure.
And I guess his dad died. He inherited the money. Nicest guy you ever met, right? The guy, you know, somehow or another, I ended up going to lunch with this guy. And we're sitting at a table, and he goes, well, how much do you charge for a DeLorean time machine? I was like, oh, and he writes it on a napkin. Well, how much do you charge for an A-Team van? He writes it. You know, he writes down a list, and he was with his mom, and he goes, Mom, give me my checkbook. And he just goes, and he hands me a check for, it was like $75,000. He goes, here's a deposit. I'm going to call you when we get back. And I was just like, okay, I'll have this barbecue burger. And this guy ordered every car that I make. I'm still making cars for this guy.
Yeah.
I'm building him the weed van from Up in Smoke. Remember the green van?
Yeah, sure.
I'm doing him a custom Night Rider with an LS1 in it. I already delivered him a time machine and A-Team van. I mean, this guy. So those kind of deals happen, and it's one of the reasons I go out there. And also as a YouTuber, I don't know about you. Have you ever gotten any really good free stuff from any of the vendors? You know,
tons of free stuff.
I mean, last couple times I went, there you go. I got the lift, the Twin Bush lift, 2-post lift that we have at my shop. Sure. They gave me that for free. All of my office furniture I got from Race Stop, where we have the racing seat office chairs. And these guys, they'll recognize, they go, hey, man, we love watching you on YouTube. You know, we'd love to have our stuff in your shop. And I go, hey, man, here's my card. Here's my address. Just send it to me. And then a truck shows up one day with a forklift unloading it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's why I like to go to see.
Yeah.
But no, the real reason I like to go to SEMA is because I get to finally meet in person guys like you and all of our friends that we see online, that we all see on the big YouTube and Facebook community. And it meant a lot to me that you guys kind of embraced me at the last show and let me be part of that little talk show, and we got to hang out. And I was looking so forward to it again this time. But at least we can meet up online and we can kind of catch up. So please, before we wrap it up, give yourself a nice plug. Let me put up, let me see here. I didn't get it. We were goofing around and I didn't get a chance to make a banner for you.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I made this one, but I will, in the video link, I'll put a direct link to your channel so people can go. So my paltry, measly 94,000 subscribers can go over to your.
You know what? I bet some of your subscribers will be interested in taking part in something that we just announced on Instagram yesterday.
Ooh, exclusive.
Exclusive. Well, semi-exclusive because we announced it yesterday.
No, but, I heard you, but here, I'll let you do it.
Myself, Matt Farah from the Smoking Tire, Amelia Hartford from the Amelia Hartford channel, and some professional race car drivers. I won't mention their names yet because I got to speak to them again tomorrow. But the one guy sounds like Smanner Faust.
Yeah.
But we're doing a show where we're going to be testing out modified cars that people have built. Different than yours, but people that are building cars strictly for performance means. And we're going to be testing them out and looking for the fastest cars on both the East Coast and the West Coast. We're going to race the two regional winners against each other, and we're going to have a prize waiting for the fastest car that we can come up with in the U.S. So that show is called Sorted. And it's sponsored by Auto Tempest. if you check out sortedornot.com, www.sortedornot.com, and you can go right on that homepage. You could submit your car, and we will check it out. And if we can get you on there, we're going to pick 8 cars for the East Coast, 8 cars for the West Coast. We're not looking for one-trick ponies. We're not looking for a 3,000 horsepower car that can rip down the quarter mile. We're not looking for a standing mile car. We're looking for a car that can sort of do it all. It's a street car, so it's registered and insured, and it can be driven on the street. And then the rest of it is history. So if you've got a car you think is properly tuned and modified and can go and stop and turn, then we've got the show for you. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm happy Auto Tempest was able to give us the green light on that. And we're going to be doing 10 episodes. It's going to be start airing in probably about a month. So good things to come in Q4. If anything good has come from 2020, it's going to be this show.
I not only do I want to watch this, I want to start building something right now.
Good luck. So you're in Dallas, so you can make it. If you think you can build something and have something ready for October 12th, is going to be the track event in California. And I'm not going to say which track so everybody doesn't show up to it. That's a short time frame to build something.
Season 2.
Yeah, season 2. Right. So, and that's the thing. We're going to do the East Coast, West Coast this year. Season 2 will probably be maybe like a Midwest and a Texas, or a Southeast, a Northwest. And when we do 2, 3, 4 seasons, we should have enough winners from each of these regions that we can run them all against each other, and that should be a pretty good time. And we'll probably take the winner of that and fly it over to Germany and run it at the Nürburgring, because then we truly have found the fastest car in the country.
I was going to say, like, what's the prize?
So the prize for this season, the prize for this season is one of my Adventure Drives trips. We didn't announce the prize yet because we're still locking in some of the sponsors, but it could be lots of tires, lots of there's other stuff there that could be prizes, but we don't have that package wrapped other than the Adventure Drive trip right now, which is 10 grand. So that's a pretty solid win right there. And then bragging rights. I mean, to be like, that's why we build these cars, to be like, I'm faster than everybody else. And for us to then prove it me, Matt, and Amelia will street drive the cars. We'll give it a score on how streetable it is. Then we're going to be doing a straight line acceleration test to see how just bloody fast it is. We're doing this in order because if your car brakes on the street, it's not very good. If your car can brake like just accelerating for 10 seconds, it's probably not very good. Yeah. After that, we go to a time attack lap, which is going to be a standing start lap from the pits around the track and then crossing the start-finish line. Also fairly easy. Your car just has to run. Like, even if you have no cooling on the car, it could still do one lap without overheating.
True.
And then the heaviest weighted portion of it will be the
unless it's a DeLorean.
Yeah, unless it's a DeLorean.
I do have a pretty sweet 1991 Yugo. Now, this is the GV Plus. It's got an extra gear and it's fuel injected. I think it's got a shot. Okay, maybe not.
I mean, there's some. I've gotten like 100 submissions already just from our Instagram post, and there are cars on there that I'm just like, this is the best idea I've ever come up with, because I would drop what I'm doing and fly across the country to drive that car. So I'm super stoked about this.
What? Where are we going to see this? Is it going to be on YouTube or on a TV
show?
YouTube.
And then potentially from there, it may move to like a Netflix, Amazon. But we'll see. Right now, the goal is YouTube, but it's going to be like Netflix quality on YouTube. So that the world is a better place because of it.
YouTube is, man, I mean, they're running. I got to tell you, I don't know if you know this. I had a TV show on the Reels network, and then it was picked up through Discovery Channel International, which is called D-Max and Turbo around the world. So I had an actual television show in 2015, and what I've learned is like YouTube is way better. Yeah. Because what they have you ever been approached to do a TV show, or did you ever do a TV show?
Yeah, I've done a couple of pilots for some of the Discovery networks. I won't mention which ones. Yeah. But I've done a pilot with Matt. I've done a pilot with BC? BC Moto from He's a tuner out in Southern California, and he makes some pretty cool stuff. He's like super chill. That one we filmed up in Toronto. I filmed one out in California with Matt and my buddy Vinny. That was great, but the premise was not so authentic.
I need to get hooked up with Matt. He was talking about me on his podcast the other day, talking about me and what I do, but we've never met.
Sure.
So I need to finally get out to LA.
I'll intro that. You can get out there and
hook up with him.
Yeah, sure.
But he I was talking to Tyler about this, Tyler Hoover from Hoovie's Garage. Everybody loves Tyler because he did his great show called Car Issues, which I thought was a great show. But, it ended up on a network that, like, nobody saw it. And what happens when you do these kind of shows, which sucks, is that, number one, you don't make any money. You don't own your own material, and then it gets played somewhere, and you can't control it. So the dummy mistake I made a 7-year contract with the Wheels channel, with AMS Pictures. So, like, I can't even play my own show on YouTube or anything. I don't own any of it, right? So I was just...
That's where we were, Matt and I were a little bit... We're not as... and I'm not saying that you're like...
Oh, I'm an idiot.
They
showed up with a check. They go, here's money. And I was like, oh, I'll take it. And
I thought you're pretty much the same, where you own virtually nothing for the first, 7 seasons. How many shows go beyond 7 seasons? So they're making all the money. Now, if it makes it 8 seasons, you could be like, I want $5 million an episode.
Yeah.
But, they may be like, all right, we'll cancel it then. It has to be a really bang-out show at that point in time. So they're reaping all the profits. You're getting your 15 minutes of fame. Matt and I, even for the contracts that I signed with these big networks, because they want you to sign something before they film the pilots. And these pilots probably spent $50,000 to...
Oh, yeah, we were spending $60,000 an episode on the show.
You're talking craft services, sound guys, producers, 5 cameras. It's legit stuff. And we both said, look, I will sign this contract for the pilot. That's it. If you run the pilot and whatever, you want to put the pilot in television.
Oh, I wish I could go back and talk to myself. But what my thinking was oh my God, they want to do this for 7 years straight. This is great. Yeah. I thought I'm roping them into this. I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm going to be a television star for 7 years. This is fantastic. Yeah. No, that's not really how it works. What happens is they do their season and then they lock it away and you never hear from them again. And the thing is they rerun the show in Malaysia and Singapore and Australia, and I'll get a bunch of fan requests from Vietnam or something. But I don't make any money from it, and you can't use it for anything. And so people will say to me on my comments, they go, wow, you should have your own TV show. And I was like, I'm doing my own TV show right now. YouTube is an outlet. I make way more money on YouTube than I ever did on television.
Yep.
And I pissed off my executive producer because I went into his office and I go, how many viewers are we getting on the episode? And he goes, I think we got 160,000 last night. And I go, dude, I can take my phone here and record my cat taking a shit and get more than that, on my YouTube channel. We're spending $60,000 an episode to produce this show. I've got 2 sound guys and producers running around and a guy bringing me a bottle of water. I had a little chair with my name on it and shit. Yeah. I was like, come on, man. I could we could be doing this on GoPro cameras.
That's the whole point of this is I don't need to feel special. I want to make a couple of bucks and I want to have a good time. And this show was all about having a good time. And the fact that Auto Tempest gave us the green light was that was terrific news. I see Ben Maskell says, how can Rob afford anything after sending my merch to Australia? Bob, you need merch. He's right. And I do these t-shirt sales like this. And the shipping, I just do $5.99 across the board. And the shipping to Australia is $22. So I lose, I'm legitimately sending free shirts to Australia and across these countries. I have to fake the forms because the customs forms at first on my first run, I just did it automatically printed them. And these people were paying $12 tariffs on a $20 shirt. So I'm like, oh, this guy just spent $40 on this shirt, which sucks. Is once it leaves the U.S. postal system to go to Australia, it could be 3 months before it gets there. And some people I never got my shirt. And I'm like, well, I'm not even making any money. I've legitimately sent you a free shirt and then I give them their money back. So it costs me $50 to like almost send a guy a shirt. And whether he gets it 3 months later or not, who the hell knows? But it's funny that he says that. At least people see on the label, it's like, oh, that's what I paid for the shirt. And that's what he paid for me. So everything else is free. So thank you for the appreciation.
This guy goes, you got to put a gift like everything bought from China. Exactly. I have so many fans and viewers in Australia, and I've been there. I've been to Sydney. You been to Australia?
I have not. Australia.
Oh, you got to go.
Are great countries for like car content, and I've got a lot. Like even cops in like Auckland watch my stuff, and they're like, "Come to Auckland, mate. You could like we'll chase you around and everything." I'm like, "It sounds awesome. You're just on the other side of the globe."
It's a long flight, but let me tell you, it's great because their seasons are reversed.
Yeah.
So you leave here in the winter, you go there in the summer.
Yeah, but the same thing by going down to like Aruba.
Wow, that's true. But Australia is it's great. I went to Sydney last year, and we went to Manchester earlier this year. We're going back to London in May.
Sure.
And it's like I only go to like in Imperial English countries, Scotland, England, Australia.
We're going to be going to Scotland on adventure drives in April. It was supposed to be our October trip, and we moved it. We swapped it with the spring trip. So that's why we're doing the Northeast in October now. And we're because like I didn't want to run into a situation where we can't fly there. There's whatever issues that we have trying to get into the country. There's got to be a mandatory quarantine, whatever it is. We're now about a month out from that trip, or what it was supposed to be. And I was like, you know what, let's just move Scotland to spring. So it's going to be the end of April into May. So we may cross paths over there.
I love Scotland. We went to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
We went to the castle, but we went in February.
Sure.
Don't go in February. It's cold.
No, yeah,
I was wearing 3 jackets.
Yeah. We've got we're meeting up with you ever hear of a car called the BAC Mono?
No, I think I had that once, but I got a shot and it cleared it up.
Yeah, that's good. There's doctors take care of that for you. But once you get over that, they made a car named after that as well. And BAC, they make a single-seater, essentially a Formula One car for the street.
I might have seen this thing before. I think I know what you're talking about.
Very cool. But yeah. I flew over. They're on the opposite side of England. They're over by, I want to say Manchester, just south of Manchester, I believe. And I flew into London, and I'm like, oh, wow, it's still 4 hours to get there. I should have flown into Manchester because it was like a half hour away. So I legitimately flew over there for a day, drove that car, came back. But they're going to be shipping cars up to us at the Glen Eagles, just north of Edinburgh, for our starting hotel. And we're going to be able to test drive those things. And I think that's going to be pretty cool because driving a single-seater, like sort of Formula One car through the hills of Scotland.
I was thinking like the Ariel Atom as well. Yeah, I think a single-seater would be easier to drive in the UK because I'm afraid to do the whole switcheroo with the other side.
You know, it's the single-seater is just cool. Like it's just to drive it is just a good time. Like I drove it over there, and it's like you're driving a go-kart, but it goes really fast.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not Borough. That will correct you on that.
Edinburgh.
It's just Edinburgh.
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 Yeah, no, I suck at that part.
Yeah,
I go to Germany. Don't ask me to pronounce anything.
First time we went to England, I was like, okay, we got to walk across this Thames River.
Yeah, it's a
Thames. And they're like, what'd you just say? Yeah, there's this bridge over the Thames, and then that's where the Big Ben thing is. They're like, this is your first time, isn't it? Yeah. So
leave.
You'll see this sign with like all these consonants, and it's just like this quick word, and it's like, what is this, Russia over here?
No, Germany's worse. Germany, it's like insulting. Their use of consonants and vowels is just ignorant.
But I did fall in love with the food, which is weird because the British aren't known for their food, but I love the food there. I like, but well, let me back up a little.
Sure.
They have breakfast figured out.
Like
the rest of the stuff ain't.
An
English breakfast is the greatest ever.
I'm gonna
like English breakfast.
Hard disagree with you on that one. I did not enjoy the eating in like I ate at like the Fairmont in like St. Andrews. It was
Oh, I
not
love
good.
the tea service. You know, they got
No,
the
the tea is
bacon and the
perfect. Don't get me
bangers,
wrong.
the potatoes, the tomatoes with the mushrooms and the poached eggs. I like the breakfast. I'm a breakfast guy. I
Now,
love the English breakfast. You can only eat so much fish and chips.
sure.
You know, I like sticky toffee pudding. That's fantastic. I like bread pudding. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm ancestrally British or something. But you know, I liked it, and also in Scotland, I like the food over there too. But you know, I listen. I think ketchup is spicy. I loved it over there. So you know, that's how. Here I am living in Texas, where all we eat is Mexican food most of the time. I
Yeah.
just got through grilling a Wagyu
And
ribeye
barbecue.
steak, and
And barbecue.
barbecue. Barbecue's good,
Yeah.
which is sweet. I don't know. So I fell in love. One of the things I love is the beans. I like beans.
Yeah.
And the beans in England are way better than the beans here. I don't know why. I order in cases of Heinz beans from England. Okay, I've embarrassed
That's
myself.
the Louis the 13th talking.
And I've had about $100 of it worth of it. So anyway, hey, we've been on here for about an hour. I didn't want to keep you all night. I got Sunday night. You got your kids. You got another probably ice ball waiting for you. You got your 2-drink minimum.
Slowly melting.
There it is. Hey, thanks for coming on and hanging out with me.
No problem.
You know, and you know, maybe off the air I'd like to chat a little bit about this whole rental thing, because I think it's something I really want to look into. You know, I'm about to visit Las Vegas. I'm looking at a property out there. I found a house that has the shop. It's like a 1-acre property. They only want $700 for it, and it's got multiple garages, shops. It's got a pit and a lift. I mean,
I would rent, man. Like
Yeah.
anytime you move, I would rent until you know you love it there.
So, oh no, I've been there tons. I mean, I go there tons, and my buddy lived there. I mean, I know the whole area. I mean, I know I want to live there.
Okay.
And it's part of my business plan.
Sure.
For some of the stuff that we're going to do. So anyway, hopefully after all this COVID stuff is done, we can do an adventure drive and we can get back to Vegas and all that stuff. Thanks for coming on with me, everybody. Check out your new show. Let me go find your banner.
Sorted or not. There you go.
You know, if I dyslexically looking at it, it was almost like it could be a show about bad coke habits, snorted or not.
Interesting. I never saw that.
Yeah.
Sorted.com was taken already. We tried.
And also Super Speeder. Okay. See you. I'll see you at the meeting of the Illuminati YouTubers.
You got it. See you on there.
All righty, man. Thanks. Okay, guys. That is another Sunday night Videobob show. And I've got about, I don't know how much of that is left. I'm going to just do it Texas style, right? No sense. This is like $100 worth of Louis Trace. Right, here we go. By the way, in case anybody starts saying anything about the glass, I want to mention again, this glass was made specifically for Louis XIII by Remy Martin, by Baccarat, for drinking this exact liquor. I know that you would traditionally have a balloon snifter, as it's known, but this glass was made specifically for, you can order it to go with the stuff. So I think Rob was right. I'm hot. I'm very sweaty. I've only had a small amount, but I got to be honest. This stuff's $3,500 a bottle. I'd rather have a $12 bottle of Fireball. Absolutely. Real crystal. That's right. Hey, all right. Thanks, everybody. I saw you over there, Mercy Gated. You're not old enough to drink. Stop giving me money. Stop it. All right. I have a buzz. I don't drink that often. Okay. And hey, what am I doing? I'm taking antibiotics. I'm not supposed to be drinking alcohol. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. Oh, I don't feel too good. No, I'm just kidding. I feel just fine. I'm on fire. Hey. Don't forget, everybody. Hold on, I gotta turn this off. Here we go. Obligatory statements. Videobob Show. Like and subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Share this, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? I'll see you guys on the next show. Our band is going to be rehearsing tomorrow night. I'm not sure if I'm going to live stream it or not. Should I live stream it? Should I live stream my rehearsal? Should I? What do you think? I don't know. Maybe I will. We'll see. I don't know.
Hi gang, it's Gallagher. I want you to smash that Videobob button and be a subscriber.